Okay, today we have a team built around one of my favorite figures from X-Men Rise and Fall, Exodus. We did do a River Tour showcase on this figure as well as some supporting casts like this Moira McTaggart, but today we're bringing you a full team utilizing this Exodus's ability and the synergy that he brings with the Moira. If you want a more in-depth breakdown on Exodus, the figure itself, make sure to check out that video, as well as some... That video also goes over some more options that you have with Exodus on a broader scale, whereas this team kind of focuses solely on one of his traits. But without further ado, we'll get right into the team. So we can see he has a first traded ability, refer to the Cocoon Revival Bystander card. So we'll look at that in a minute. It's pretty simple once you break it down, but we'll look at that in a minute. Then he has a traded Mind Control. When Exodus uses it, after resolutions, deal a hit character damage equal to Exodus's damage value. This is the ability we're abusing today. This ability to mind control somebody and then deal damage to them that is not an attack afterwards equal to his flat damage is nuts. It does apply reducers, but we have a couple of different ways to outwit any reducers and just deal our full damage to somebody after mind controlling them and having them smack their own teammates. This is a very funny ability, and we're going to be using it today. Then, a little later on in his dial, we have an Energy Shield Deflections, and once per turn, when a friendly character is healed or turned to their start and click, heal Exodus 1 click. This synergizes with the Cocoon Revival card because then they are revived, they are placed on their starting click, and as well as we do have the X-Men team ability on a few of these figures, so if you X-Men heal somebody else, Exodus gets a healing as well, which is always nice. Keep everybody topped up on the end. Looking at the back of his dial here, he's a 95 points for this monster of a figure. We've got a 9 running shot with a 7 range with telekinesis, or remember, we've got that mind control traded in there, with invulnerability and leadership. The leadership here is very nice at the beginning of the game. Then we go to penetrating psychic blast if we want to be doing some damage, and phasing so that we can get out of dodge with a 12 phasing on the very last click. 17s and 18s, but this is also increased with an energy shield deflections. We do want to keep him in the back line, and mind controlling our opponents away from us can help with that game plan, even if they do have some powerful melee attackers. So to finish off just the little Exodus part here, we've got the Cocoon Revival Bystander card. So the Cocoon Revival ability is for all characters with this trait when a friendly standard character with the X-Men keyword and a lower point value than Exodus, which is all of them, would be KO'd by an opposing effect. You may instead choose to turn that character to its starting click this game and place them adjacent to a friendly character that can use this trait. If you do, your opponent scores that character and generates a bystander on this card of their choice adjacent to any of their characters. Your opponent then scores 10 points for every bystander they generated this game via this trait, regardless of source. So what this means basically is when your opponent kills your X-Men, no they don't. You summon an X-Men back, they score that points, they score an additional 10 points for every time you revive somebody so far, and they get to make one of the bystanders inside this booklet. Now, all of these bystanders in this booklet are very annoying to deal with, but most of them are either utility pieces or attackers. If they are utility pieces, just kill them with one of your other guys. If they are attackers, have Exodus mind control one of them, have the attacker run into your opponent's team, and then Exodus's damage will kill the attacking bystander piece because he'll deal his 4 damage. None of them can reduce past that. And since it's not damage from an attack, the one impervious figure in here does not actually get to do the rollout. The rollout is only used if you are taking damage from an attack. This is not damage from an attack, so the 4 damage just kills it. No chance of a rollout there. So that's the Cocoon Revival Bystander card along with Exodus. Now, how are we abusing this figure? Well, it's mostly going to come down to that mind control. And we're going to start off with Moira McTaggart. While Moira is standing next to a friendly character that can use mind control, they can use it with 3 targets. So now our Exodus can triple target mind control. If you've played against a Legacy Thanos ever, or an Onslaught piece, or anything with multiple targets of mind control, you know exactly how obnoxious as hell this is. She just has to be standing next to Exodus. Now, keep in mind, Exodus's damage is only assigned to one of the people that he mind controls. But when you have 3 targets, you're more likely to hit somebody if you just hit somebody with low defense numbers, and then you can always be dealing your damage that way. So that's always nice. Plus, Moira has another traded ability, the Arena of Death and Science. As a free action, you can choose a character that is KO'd and turn it to a starting click. Choose a standard power that character can use. Moira can use the chosen power until your next turn. So any character that is dead, your own or your opponent's, you turn them to their first click, they stay dead, and then you get to copy one of the abilities it's showing. So this is very nice, allows Moira a little bit of extra utility on the team. She can pick up random abilities from your opponents after you kill them, or recycle some used abilities on your own team after they drop you, which is always nice. She also has a Perplex and a Sidestep, so she can Perplex up Exodus's attack to a 12 and Sidestep around with him after she is carried with him. Exodus does fly, so generally you're going to be having him carry her so that they're always adjacent to each other. Exodus will running shot for 5 squares, or if you flex up the movement, he can even move 6 squares, has a 7 range, and then will mind control 3 opponents, have them all run at your opponent's team, hit each other, then deal his 4 damage to one of them, And then afterwards, you can always leadership off the token from Moira if she's gotten any of those, and just keep him moving the entire time. She also has a willpower on her, so she is a nice secondary shooter. She can kind of sidestep out behind Exodus and take a shot with her 4 range. She doesn't have crazy high attack, but again, on those last 2 clicks, we are doing penetrating damage, so our 2 damage here is still relevant, as well as the Perplex to potentially push up that attack or that movement. So I do really, really like pairing this Moira figure with Exodus, because also if they try to kill Moira, she is an X-Men. That's her only tag, but it's the only one we care about. So you just revive her next to Exodus, and she's still adjacent to Exodus, so she can still give him the triple mind control. But we do need a second figure than just the Exodus to act as our mind control piece. The next best figure that's in X-Men for mind controlling is this Venom Marvel Girl. So she is a Venom, so she has the symbiotic fusion from the new Empire Venom figures that has plasticity and super senses. If Venom Marvel Girl is within 4 squares and line of fire of an opposing character, she can't be targeted by ranged attacks. So that's very important. Keeps her safe. She can still be targeted by effects, so she can still be perplexed and probability controlled. She can't be outwit because she is in fact power cosmic, so that's nice. But she can still be targeted by things that are not ranged attacks. Just can't be shot in the face from far away. Then for this special movement ability, we have Mind Control and Sidestep. She can Mind Control as free, but only to target opposing characters within 4 squares. So what'll often happen is you run her up within 4 squares, do the free Mind Control, then Sidestep her back. So they can't shoot you because they're too far away. She also has a special attack power, Telekinesis. When Venom Marvel Girl uses it, after resolutions, you roll a d6. On a 3 or 4, you heal the place character 1, or on a 5 and 6, you make a close attack targeting an opposing character adjacent to the place character, regardless of adjacency. Mind Control can be used as free. So you can running shot up with Exodus, having him carry Moira, then Exodus will do a triple target Mind Control. Then you can bring one of them towards you, have Moira sidestep forward, and have her telekinesis Exodus still next to the Moira, and Mind Control the last person as a close action, which is still the Mind Control. Then you Mind Control, run them away, and Exodus has now dealt his damage to them, his 4 damage by the way, to that character twice, while mispositioning them and running them into your melee figures or into Venom Marvel Girl herself, because then she can free Mind Control. If she's standing next to Moira, she can free Mind Control 4 people. If she's standing next to Moira, she can Mind Control 3 people as a free action. And she also has a nice enhancement in case Exodus wants to go shooting. Looking at the back of this dial, we are playing her on her low points here, the 60-point dial. So she has enhancement for 1 click, where she only has that 2 damage. As soon as she gets knocked off all of her cool abilities, she goes up to 3 damage with probability control. This is very important because Venom Marvel Girl can see through characters. So you can do mind controls through characters. They can't hide from her mind control. And also, if you position properly, you will be able to probability control your opponent's rolls without being seen. You can hide behind like 5 or 6 people. And since you can see through any characters, allies or enemies, when your opponent doesn't think you have a mind control lined up, you do. She will almost always have line of sight to somebody who is making attacks, as long as they're within the 6 squares and there's no blocking in the way. That's really the only thing you have to worry about. So with the Marvel Girl, we have 2 very ranged attackers here. So what are we going to do to back them up? Well, first off, I really, really like this Wolverine. This Wolverine is crazy powerful. He's got 3 team abilities. He's got the X-Men team ability, the Avengers team ability, and the Fantastic Four team ability. This Fantastic Four team ability isn't really going to come up, but the Avengers and the X-Men ability do. He has this traded. At the beginning of your turn, heal Wolverine 1 click, so that's always healing in 1 click, and then you roll a d6. On a 4, 5, or 6, you heal 1 click for each distinct printed team ability shared by Wolverine and all adjacent friendly characters. So for everybody who has a team ability that shares with him, he heals another one. Realistically, this is just going to be X-Men. There's no team players on this team, so nobody's going to be copying that Avengers or that Fantastic Four, but always healing 1 and having the chance to heal 2 is very nice. He also has the special movement power of Charge, Flurry, Stealth. Charge, Flurry is a crazy combination. And if we look on the back of his dial, we are playing him on the 30-point click here. So if he takes only 2 damage here, he goes to that super senses click, maybe he can get a roll out and then can heal up. He's got that on his first dial here with the Charge Flurry. He also has Blades and Exploit Weakness. So for those who have been following the channel for a while, you know that one of my favorite combinations in the game is Charge, Flurry, Blades, Exploit. It is so beautiful. And we get a Stealth thrown in here as well, so we're forced for them to run in to make melee attacks. Combine that with our Venom Marvel Girl's Venom hiding thing, where she's really hard to hit by range attacks. Your opponent is forced to walk into you, and then you can just mind control them away from you. And there's not much they can do about that, because you're in stealth, they're too far away, you're super far away. There's just a lot going on with this team right now. So Wolverine is one of our melee attackers to either kill opponents who get too close to us, or to just kind of threaten them off from us in the first place. Captain Britain is our second one. I like Captain Britain a lot here. She has the Mystics team ability, but only during ranged attacks. So if she is shot by range, then she Mystics them back, which is nice because our opponents are going to be at range a lot, and she's going to be one of the few targets they actually have to make with range attacks. So the Mystics damage will be triggering there. She also has a traded leadership, pairing with Exodus's normal leadership. We always have our 4 actions because he loses this eventually, but hers is traded. And also, when she uses leadership and succeeds, she may also remove an action token from a friendly character within range with the X-Men or Excalibur keyword. So that is in addition to her normal leadership success. If she's standing next to Exodus, when she uses her leadership, when she succeeds on her leadership, she can remove Exodus's action token, and then, as long as they're within range 3 of her, which is not crazy far, but is definitely better than just adjacent, she can remove the action from Venom Marvel Girl, or Polaris for more utility, or Wolverine to keep smacking. Or, since she is considered a friendly character to herself, and she is definitely within 3 squares, she can also just remove it from herself, acting as a weird willpower combined with the leadership. It's a very nice ability. Next up, we've got this attack ability, but since we're playing on Captain Britain on her low dial, we do not actually have access to that attack ability. The attack ability is very funny, very powerful, but we only have points for her on the 30 points, and also we do desperately need this outwit. Our main damage source here comes from Exodus and abusing the Exodus, plus the telekinesis synergy and the free mind control with these 3 pieces in the front. Now, I don't know if anybody has read Battle Fury lately. It says you can't be mind controlled, so we need to turn that off, which is where our outwit comes in from Captain Britain. Also, we can just kill the person who has mind control. Also, we can just kill the person who has Battle Fury. We don't need to mind control them to deal our 4 damage. We can just shoot them. We don't need to mind control them to charge blades them or charge flurry blades them. That's why I like these melee pieces, these cheap 30-point efficient, effective melee pieces in combat to get rid of those pieces that have Battle Fury or are hard to mind control or something like that. It's very nice. Next up, to finish out the team, we have Polaris. I love the utility that Polaris brings to any team she can slot in. The amount of stuff that she has on her, she only takes up 1 line here. Every single word in this character means a lot, and it is super useful that she has exactly these keywords, exactly these abilities, all of this. Very nice. So she is an X-Men, so she's still in here. She has the X-Men team ability, so she can also heal off the Wolverine, as well as do some healing to top Exodus off at the end. Remember, we can always have that healing on our 3rd through 8th click on Exodus. Then she has on opposing rally 5. She is our only rally in the team. So whenever your opponent rolls a 5, she's always going to be getting the rally die. You don't have to split it between anybody else. After a couple turns, she's just going to have them always. Then as a free action, you can remove her rally die to knock back a character within range and line of fire 5 squares in a direction of your choice. So this is like weird telekinesis, which she also has telekinesis. So this is very nice. You can choose any character within range of line of fire, including herself, including your opponents, including your allies, and you knock them back 5 squares in any direction. So you can pick your opponent's figure and knock them towards you. You can pick your figure and knock them sideways to reposition them. Your figure, knock them backwards. Your figure, knock them forwards. The ability to just reposition anybody on your team with this rally die as a free action, in addition to her telekinesis, is unmatched in my mind. For 35 points, this figure is only matched by Venom Magneto, realistically. But Venom Magneto is $250, so I'll take my $5 Polaris any day of the week. She's also got sidestep with the flying, so most commonly she will be telekinesising an item to one of your friendlies. They will equip that item, and then she can sidestep carry the person who just equipped that item up a little bit into the fray, dropping them on the other side of her so they can get a little bit out of your starting area after equipping. Then on the next turn, she can telekinesis them even farther in and then have them go flying at your opponent. For this team, we're using the Mercy Blade here that we're going to almost always be equipping on our Moira. Now, the Mercy Blade gives Blades, Claws, Fangs, and once per turn when this character is attacked, you may reroll the attack. Now, remember that Moira can copy the abilities of dead characters. So, if they manage to kill your Captain Britain or your Wolverine, you turn to their first click, and you can use any of the standard powers that character can use on that click. So it doesn't matter that Wolverine's charge is hiding in his special attack, she can use that. Same with Captain Britain, she can just use her charge. Or, if you need the utility, you can use the Outwit. Or if your opponent, if you kill somebody who has Hypersonic, you can now have Hypersonic, and you Hypersonic in with a Blades, Claws, Fangs, and this sword is also a little defensive. This Moira is going to be the easiest target for your opponent to go after to stop your mind control shenanigans because she has the lowest defense and the lowest dial. She's close with Venom Marvel Girls, but Venom Marvel Girls is already hard to hit because of her shape change and her Venom hiding ability where she hides within 4 squares. So the Moira McTaggart is going to be the easiest target, so I like giving her the Mercy Blade to give her a little bit more defensiveness, as well as once some kills are happening in the game, a little bit of an offensive pressure as well with the sidestep into a charge with the Blades. Or if they run out at you, just the Blades. I like this team very much. It is a very well-balanced team, well-rounded team. All of the figures in this team are very pullable if you're going for packs or just tradable off of your friends. I'm sure many of your friends who have opened any of these packs can have these figures. The most awkward one to find is this Moira McTaggart, but she is a common prime. So I'm sure anybody you know that's open to the Xavier School for Students pack has probably found this figure and been very upset about it because it is a common prime. The common starting move that you're going to take with this team, you have 6 characters on your team, so you have a +6 to your map roll, and you have your 3 probability controls, plus Venom Marvel Girl's probability control once she gets damaged. So you do have some map control and some playability control there. Often your starting play is going to look something like this. Your Mercy is going to be 5 squares away from your starting area, but Polaris is going to telekinesis the Mercy Blade to Moira. Then Moira will power action to equip the Mercy Blade, giving herself some nice defensiveness. Then Polaris can sidestep carry out Venom Marvel Girl, and then Venom Marvel Girl can sidestep a little bit farther out for a little bit more reach. And then Captain Britain can carry out Wolverine, ideally dropping him off into some hindering since he's got that stealth. Also ideally in front of her so that his line of fire is blocking to her, and then his line of fire to himself is blocked because of the stealth. Then Exodus can move out carrying Moira, potentially even dropping her in front if you want to rely on the Mercy reroll, though depending on your opponent's team that might not be the best idea. And then all of your figures are at least halfway out to the board and able to make attacks on your opponent if they move out. This team does not have incredible range, admittedly, but the running shot here with the mind control, depending on the map, depending on what your opponent's done, you can still get to their base if they just sit there on their first turn. You do need to be going first for that option, but you do have a decent amount of reach here, and if they move against you, if you're going second, if they move up on you, the Exodus with the Perplex can still do his running shot mind control, carrying Moira, mind controlling 3 people, and telling them to fuck off after dealing some damage to themselves. Keep in mind that when mind controlling multiple people with either Exodus or Venom Marvel Girl, you have to make attacks against figures that you do not control, which means that if your opponent has 3 figures, don't mind control all 3 of them. Unless you just want to reposition them, that's fine. But if you're mind controlling 3 of your opponent's figures, you cannot have them attack each other until they're done with their mind control thing. So you can have them run off and just say, I'm not going to attack with that character, I give it back to you, and then have the other 2 characters eat it, and then have Exodus deal damage to one of the ones that didn't take damage from an attack. That's always useful. Or you can have all 3 of them run at a 4th figure that your opponent has and do that. Overall, I like this team a lot. It is a very well-balanced team with a mix of ranged threats, protectiveness, and utility, as well as some melee carries in the form of the Captain Britain and Wolverine. Most of your characters are always moving between Exodus's leadership, Captain Britain's weird willpower leadership hybrid, and Venom Marvel Girl's cosmic, so she also has willpower. Moira is honestly not going to be taking many power actions outside of equipping Mercy on the first turn until some things have died, and then she starts turning into a threat as well for only 40 points. As well as the Krakoan revival aspect of Exodus. If they do end up killing Wolverine or Captain Britain or Moira and you want those pieces to come back, you're not losing out a whole lot of points by just Krakoan reviving them. I would hesitate to revive the Venom Marvel Girl as she is 60 points, and that will add up very quickly when you're playing against your opponent. Polaris is mostly utility, so it's kind of okay if she dies. She's mostly there to just kind of fuck with your opponent and absorb attacks because that's what she wants to do. But if you like the mind control strategy, I think that this is a very fun take on the strategy, with the Exodus being able to do damage with his mind control, because one of the problems with normal mind control teams is it's hard to actually kill your opponent. Your mind control guy is probably your carry, and they're not doing any damage, but this time, Exodus is. If you guys enjoyed the team, make sure to stay tuned to the channel. We do these team showcases every week, as well as some character breakdowns and other gameplay videos. And with that, we'll see you next week.